Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis, and in this video I want to cover what are my favorite top weapons right now outside of kind of exotics and things, because there are a lot of different weapons, but they all typically have a different purpose. Maybe you're running a Lost Sector and you need something that's a Void Barrier and a Void Overload weapon. Maybe you're just going to go into a Vanguard Strike and you know it's got an Arc Burn and you want to have some fun with Arc 3.0. Maybe you're going to run into King's Fall and you want to have some optimal DPS and some good ad clear weapons. There's a lot of different weapons in this game, but they typically also fall into a lot of different purposes, champion modifiers from different seasons. So what I'm going to cover are just ones that I think you guys should keep an eye out for, certain perks that you should be definitely looking for, and some weapons that I think you guys can have some fun with, because I've had a lot of fun with them and I think you probably will too. But first, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this video, Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends just keeps getting better and better, and today is no exception. Over 600 champions to unlock and build out your team, hundreds of artifacts to earn, and countless activities to face really do make Raid a console-level experience right on your phone. Also, Raid has just released a super-powered, legendary version of everybody's favorite champion, Death Knight. The whole Raid community has been waiting for a long time, and Ultimate Death Knight is everything we hoped for. Just look at him. He really is ready to face every type of combat in Raid. And here's regular Death Knight, sorry buddy, to tell you more.
Listen up, skeleton crew. The Death Knight hunt is upon us, and so is the newest champion, Ultimate Death Knight. Raid is giving you Ultimate Death Knight, who, reminder, is not me, for free. Just log in, play 7 times between now and October 27th, and Ultimate Death Knight is yours. Enter promo code DKRises for a ton of free items to instantly upgrade Ultimate Death Knight to level 55-star Ascension. Oh, I just love to see all my dreams come true for someone else.
As Death Knight said, all you have to do is log in for 7 days between now and October 27th, and you can unlock Ultimate Death Knight as part of your collection of champions shown here. Also, Raid's just released a giant new feature, Awakening, and a brutal new dungeon, the Iron Twins Fortress. If you're good enough to take down the Iron Twins, you'll see a huge payoff, being able to awaken your champions. Awakening lets you choose a powerful blessing that can transform how your champions perform in battle. They look awesome and add a ton of variety to the way you'll play. And if you haven't started playing Raid yet, what are you doing? Seriously. But what you should do is click the link in the description or scan my QR code on screen and you'll get unique bonuses worth $30. A free champion, Tayrel, 200,000 silver, 1 energy refill, 1 XP boost, and on top of everything else, 1 ancient shard so you can summon your own awesome champion right when you log in. But remember, this deal only lasts for the next 30 days, so now really is the time. Just make sure you use the link or the QR code, and your rewards will be waiting for you in your inbox. Oh, you've already started playing Raid Shadow Legends? That's great. You can still earn Ultimate Death Knight with those 7 login days, and if you use promo code DKRises right now, you'll get to boost your new champion right up to level 50, and you'll unlock a bunch of free items instantly. So whether it's going to be your first time, or maybe it's been a little while, now really is the best time to load up Raid and get yourself a fantastic champion in just 1 week. I hope to see you in Teleria, and good luck. First weapon that I want to cover, kind of low on the list, but one that I want to give you a quick shout out because yesteryear is the Gambit Pulse Rifle, and it's got a unique perk. You can get Desperado here in the 4th column, and you can get Outlaw right here. Outlaw, when you reload after getting a precision kill, Desperado is going to allow you to have a faster fire rate, and we have only seen that on 2 other weapons, and they've been very much from PvP. So the fact that you can, for one, get a Void Pulse Rifle, we don't have a lot of those running around right now, they're actually kind of hard to get your hands on. You can get Desperado, you've got Repulsor Brace, which could play into a Void build, and it's an Amalon Pulse Rifle. If you slap Counterbalance on there, the 65 recoil is pretty manageable, and it's got a really wide open sight, so if you're using it in PvP or PvE, you're going to be able to get some good work out of this one. So I know yesteryear's not going to be high on a lot of people's lists, but if you do play Gambit and you see like an Outlaw, and you're lucky enough to actually see Desperado drop with Outlaw, hold on to it, lock it, and save it, but you've also got some other good perks in there as well. Does take plain Gambit, I get that, but it actually, again, for a Void Pulse Rifle, there's not a lot of them. You can get some decent rolls on this one, so spend a little time in Gambit and save one of the good ones. Now, the next weapon that I want to mention is going to be the BXR-55 Battler. I'm a pulse rifle fan. They typically have a lot of uses, especially solar ones for lost sectors and things of that nature. You can now craft this if you spend some time in Dares of Eternity, or if you're lucky, you can get one with Incandescent, but honestly, crafting it's going to give you the most optimal way to go. Now, I've already used my Callus Mini Tool. It's at level 74 with Incandescent because I love for clearing ads, but if you need something with range, you can now get the BXR-55 Battler, and it just feels good. It's stable. Everything you kill basically just explodes. And honestly, like the range, the tight spread on this thing, when you're hitting enemies from far away or close up, everything's basically just going to die and explode, and you're able to just put in a whole bunch of work. I'm going to throw the grenade up there to mess with that guy. But every mid-level ad that you're going to be dealing with this weapon, it's just so forgiving, it's so accurate. And then when it comes time to actually put damage in on something, well, you know, this guy's going to be a little annoying, but not much I can do about that. But every little ad that spawns, you know, when one explodes, the next one's going to explode. And it just tends to be a nice little cycle from there. But if you can get Outlaw on this thing, I'm not entirely sure on the perks off the top of my head. I feel like I looked at it like 20 times, but I should know. But if you can get one of these with Incandescent, it's just going to be a really good ad clear weapon. And you've also got some great options for PvP as well, just because it's so accurate, little 3-shot, fast, rapid bursts. It's a good weapon, and now that it's craftable, you can make it exactly how you like it. So, my recommendation, spend some time in Dares. It's going to be worth it for at least one of these. Now, Whistler's Whim is one I might be a little biased on. 1, you've got to earn it in Trials, which I know is not going to be everybody's favorite thing. 2, it's a bow, which I know some people are probably give and take on. But the fact that you can have Alacrity on basically all the time as a solo player, or you can use Vice Stinger to have faster draw speed. This one's going to give you faster reload speed. Here you can have Rapid Hit, so that's going to help you with if you want speed. You can go Moving Target if you want to use this in PvP. You can use Moving Target with Gut Shot Straight, so you can actually have a 103-shot hit to the body, which is going to be interesting. And if you do hit a headshot, bonus. You've got Successful Warm-Up that you can pair with Rapid Hit, so you're going to have crazy draw time and reload speed. Archer's Tempo is another one you can throw in there with some of these fast reload and draw speed options. It's going to be a very fast bow in basically all ways. It's also lightweight frame. You can run faster. And it's just one of those weapons that I've enjoyed using so far, because once it starts proccing, because I got the one with Kill Clip on it, so now everything I basically fire is going to be fast. Alacrity is going to help me with my reload speed. I'm going to be able to proc basically everything that I shoot here. And then all this stuff is just going to start dying really quickly. I'm going to have Kill Clip on. It's not going to be as great on the bigger targets, I get that, but on smaller targets, especially at range, you can put in some work, I promise you, and it's going to be fun to do. And then if you get Kill Clip proc from all your kills, Kill Clip's honestly going to be on for a couple of arrows, so then you can really take advantage of it. And then if I come up here and just like delete this guy, I can delete him, and then you got ads coming out of the corner. But it's how fast you can reload, it's how fast you can draw, and it's basically just a race to see how fast you can do those things, because what this bow is capable of is just basically a whole lot of everything. And then when you kill stuff, even the body shots here, still pretty solid. And Alacrity's on the entire time, Kill Clip's there. It's just a very fun bow to use, and I know not everybody's going to get the God roll, not everybody's going to get the Kill Clip roll, I understand that, but if you're willing to put some time in Trials, especially if it's a freelance, like, bonus reputation weekend. I played a solid amount this weekend. I did play a lot, but I got like 20 rolls on this thing, and I've got like 12 more to cash in. I'm bound to get at least a few decent ones. So Whistler's Whim, one of my favorite bows I'm going to be using right now, and we always need bows for Barrier or Overload or whatever it is. So having a solid kinetic bow that you just really enjoy using, I can't really recommend it much more than that. Alright, so the next weapon I want to cover is Brigand's Law, and specifically for Volt Shots. The new perk this season pairs well with Arc 3.0. When you reload after getting a kill, you are going to jolt the next target. Pairs very well with Feeding Frenzy, which I actually have on this one. These over here could be better, but Feeding Frenzy works well. Now, you can get it on the Tarnished Metal Scout Rifle, you can get it on like the Spyglass Linear Fusion Rifle, but I think it works best here. And especially for something like a Strike playlist with an Arc Burn or just a Nightfall and you just want to blow through enemies, it's going to work well, because all you got to do is get one kill, reload, and then you're going to proc Volt Shot, and that lightning is going to be something you can chain to basically whatever enemy comes next. You've got about 6 seconds to use it, and then when things start working together, and really what's going to make this thing great is when you start pairing this with Arc 3.0s, because you can pair it with a whole bunch of stuff. Whether it's just a little enemy here that's going to do lightning damage to everybody, a couple dregs that are going to chain and die. I'm getting ionic traces near constantly. But really when it starts to work is when you put Volt Shot on a bigger enemy, and you're able to continually put arc damage into them. And for one, you continue to stagger him, and then every time you get that arc damage, you're also able to send those lightning bolts out to the other enemies. And then everything basically dies because you're trying to kill the one big guy, and then when he finally dies, you've got Volt Shot procced up again. And everything basically dies. So Volt Shot, Arc 3.0, you're going to be getting Ionic Traces, depending on if you melee in there and bash ahead. You're going to blow through some Arc Strike playlists just insanely fast. So Volt Shot, Feeding Frenzy on Brigand's Law, kind of a recommendation. I'm sure there's some other perks, but this is a very fun role, and I think one of the better places to put Volt Shot to use. Now, normally I don't just pull up D2 Gunsmith and show you guys a list of perks, but Smite of Moraine, it's been here since Destiny 1, but the perk combinations that you can get on this thing are crazy, and it's almost worth like crafting 2 of these things. It's kind of nuts. Now, depending on what you're going for, if you're looking for PvP, you're probably going to want some range and stability, so you could probably do that with those 2 combinations. Throw on range masterwork and you're looking for some solid work there. At that point, you might want to look into counterbalance so you get a nice little vertical recoil. But when you come over here to perks, man, it's almost hard to go wrong. Stats for all, one for all. Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie. Pugilist and Swashbuckler. Moving Target and Eye of the Storm. Or Gut Shot Straight, but I don't know if that one's going to be quite as good. Focused Fury and Firefly. You can almost not go wrong if you get like any of those perk combination. Ensemble is probably my least cared for one. And then Vorpal, while it's a primary, you know, it's fine for champions. If you need a champion weapon, there you go. But, you know, Focused Fury and Vorpal on a champion weapon, probably going to be putting in some work there as well. So you've got basically a chance for awesome damage, grenade build, melee build, PvP, and then just like Grandmaster, high level, stats for all, one for all, just tagging and hitting all of those benefits. It is an amazing weapon. Now let me switch back to the game. And it's just a really solid pulse too. Pretty wide open scope, pretty vertical if you throw that counterbalance mod on there. Nice reload speed. It's just a general all-around very solid kinetic pulse rifle. So when you need it to work, it's definitely going to be able to. It's got pretty solid range, and PvP or PvE, it's going to start putting in some work. So it's one of those weapons that I really can't recommend enough to most people just because of the capabilities that it's going to have. So Smite of Moraine, it is going to take you running the King's Fall raid. And there's a couple honorable mentions I will do as well, but for just combinations of perks that are all fantastic, this is one of those weapons that is going to be worth you raiding, worth you, you know, making sure you do the little symbol puzzle and get those red deep sight weapons so you can craft one of these things and mess around and figure out what perk combination works for you, because there's a lot of them and nearly all of them are good. So have fun with this one when you get it. Now, when it comes to auto rifles in this game, we've had a lot of them. One of my favorites has actually been the Uriel's Gift. We just don't have it anymore since it's sunset. But solar auto rifles have been oddly sparse. Cryosphere Mellow, you can't even get unless Xur magically brings it back. Summoner was coming from Trials, but you can't get that right now because it's not in the Trials loot pool. And then up in Europa, you can get Arctic Haze, but I can't stand this auto rifle because it's just awful. But we have a Victor. The Amit AR2 is craftable because if you go to the Enclave and you do the crafting quest that gets you this and, you know, another weapon on this list, this is a fantastic weapon. One, it can get incandescent. Two, I know a ton of you guys love auto rifles, and guess what? This is one of the best type. It's a precision frame, it's a 450, it's got solid range, it's very reliable. You're going to have origin traits on it, so if you reload, you've got a little bit of stability to the top of it. You can get some nice range on this thing, depending on the perks that you roll. It's just a good all-around auto rifle. And when it comes to solar auto rifle, we always need auto rifles for something, whether it's breaking barrier shields or overloading enemies, whatever it is. If you want one of the best type of auto rifles, it's an Amalon. And the fact that we've got one that's solar, very rare archetype for auto rifles to be reasonable, and it's got incandescent that you can craft onto it so you can go enhanced on it as well. Yeah, this is going to be a fantastic auto rifle to use. And even when you're just firing it, if you're just sitting here firing it, it's just solid most of the time. It's a consistent workhorse that works close, it works far, incandescent. You can blow some stuff up depending on if you need solar. maybe it's a lost sector requirement, maybe you're just looking for an auto rifle for ease of use, whatever it may be, the Amit AR2 is a weapon I can't recommend enough, honestly, because you can do a lot of things with it, and it's like my favorite type of auto rifle, so I want more people to experience it. So the Amit AR2, go to the Enclave, do the quest, craft this thing, level it up, and you're welcome. When they built Arc 3.0, I don't know if they could have planned this any better, because when you start synergizing things that work together, when you're amplified, your Arc special weapon final blows create a blinding explosion. The blinding target is defeated, it creates another blinding explosion. Rapidly defeat targets while you're amplified. You get amplified by rapidly defeating targets, so it's kind of like a circle. And then you get ionic traces just by killing things constantly with Arc. When you pair that with something like this, you tend to have a whole bunch of fun. This is the Vow of the Disciple Wave Frame Arc Grenade Launcher. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to run Vow of the Disciple enough times, at least 5, to get one with Chain Reaction and Ambitious Assassin. And this is literally why. You're going to run into a group of enemies like this, and you're going to be able to get a kill. Then you're going to start chaining this stuff together, and you're going to start getting all of these things to work in one giant group. Now, granted, this Lost Sector has them a little paired up, but notice this guy up top. He's blind. These guys over here, they're going to explode. Anything nearby, they're blinded. They're going to chain up. I've got 2 in the chamber now, so I can basically fire 1, fire 2, depending on once I've got them up. So there's 1, there's 2. This guy comes up here. Oh no, I've got to punch someone, but I've got more guys coming up the run. Here's more. I've got Ionic Traces, so I've got ability energy that could be thrown out constantly. All of that stuff is basically just like, it's ridiculous what you can do with this thing. And then the fact that I can just basically take out an entire Lost Sector in just a very small amount of time, and then on top of that, things just continue to explode because I'm capable of doing the damage that I am. Not much is alive, and I just wiped out an entire Lost Sector, and it's over. Forbearance, Chain Reaction, Ambitious Assassin. Go run Vow of the Disciple, craft it, and with Arc 3.0, there's not many better legendary weapons that you can have in the special slot than this thing, especially when it comes to ad clear. Now, before we get to my top weapon, I want to give a couple of shout-outs to some honorable mentions. You've got the Blood Feud, where you can have some fun with, like, Pugilist, Swashbuckler, Right Hook, and it's just a decent submachine gun in the kinetic slot, depending on if you're needing one there. It is a 750, so you got some control. It's Stasis, not too shabby. Out of Bounds is one of those submachine guns that just, like, punches above its weight, especially in PvP. You can get some pretty solid rolls, moving target, and just spending a little time with it, you realize this thing is going to be able to put in some work in PvP. Maybe not the best in PvE, but PvP. Now, when it comes to the raid, you've got Zauli's Bane with Incandescent Explosive Payload. This one's craftable. Again, Incandescent, I was trying not to harp on too much, but again, you can have some really good times with a new Solar 140 hand cannon. Not a lot of Solar 140 hand cannons, basically, much less not any hand cannons. And then you've also got the Doom of Chelchis from King's Fall. Very good weapon, very respectable Void Scout Rifle that's craftable if you don't have a great Vouchsafe and you don't really love the one that came from Witch Queen. This is a solid scout rifle. You've got some good craftable perks on it, and again, with Runneth Over, you've got the overflow of the magazine. Final little one that I did want to shout out is once you reset a playlist, you're going to get Cry Mutiny, which is this cannonball launcher, and it's just a fun, heavy weapon to use, so if you have like a solar burn on in, you know, some mid-level activities, you can just blow stuff up. Incandescent's going to really help it blow up, and then if grenade launchers get a bit of a bump in DPS, this thing could be pretty solid. But some honorable mentions, I just wanted to give some nods. I don't have perfect rolls or anything, but again, if you have weapons that I did not include here, now's the time. Put those in the comments below. Let me know your top 3 weapons. Let me know what perks you're looking for on weapons. What are you trying to craft? Because I'm not going to include all of them for everybody. These are just the weapons that I'm having fun with right now. But my final weapon is very simple. It's the absolute DPS king of, like, what should be the floor of DPS. Sure, a Cataclysm with bait and switch can beat this thing. There's certain ways you can beat it. But I can tell you, this is a weapon every single person should own, and it's probably needs to be about this role as well. Firing line, triple tap, Vice Stinger. You've got triple tap for free ammo every so often if you hit 3 crits, especially if you're using a linear fusion rifle in group DPS for basically any raid or high level activity. Firing line is just that instant bonus to 20%. Vice Stinger every so often is just going to reload your magazine from reserve, so you don't have to reload and your DPS numbers just go up. It is one of the best DPS weapons in the game right now. You know, Divinity is a whole thing, but if you can just hit your headshots, between Vice Stinger, Triple Tap, and Firing Line on basically any raid encounter in Kingsfall, much less most raid encounters in the game. Shoot giant critical spot on enemy, whether it's Big Head or Divinity Bubble, and you're going to do a ton of damage, and you are going to bring solid DPS from you. Now, if you've got better specialized DPS weapons, that's fine. But this is the absolute minimum. Everyone should own this, because when you go to the Enclave and you do the quest for the Amit AR2, the second step is this weapon, and you should absolutely craft this thing, level it up, and make sure, if you want to do high-level in-game content, that you have this thing ready to go, because you can do a solid amount of DPS and help out your team, and if you're trying to do raids, that's what you should be doing. So everyone should own one of these. That's why it is my #1 weapon that everybody should own right now. And that basically wraps up kind of my top 10 with a few honorable mentions. When you go to choose an activity in the game, everything's going to need something different. Is it a lost sector where you need a bunch of void and barrier? Is it going to be a raid? Is it going to be just a strike playlist? You've got a lot of options, but these are the ones that I think are going to help you out in a lot of those different places. And again, there's probably even more, but these are the ones that right now I think you can have a lot of benefit from using, leveling up, spending some time to get the crafting pattern, whether it's from a raid, a seasonal playlist, or whatever it may be. It's probably going to take a little time to get some of these weapons crafted and leveled up and where you want them, but once you get them to that state, they are going to be well worth the investment, and they should last you for a very long time. But as I said previously, if you have anything you want to throw in the comments as like a top 3, a weapon that I may not have shouted out, put that in the comments. Or if you just want to say hello, you can do that down there as well. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it and share this with friends, because if they're wondering what they should be going after right now, this could help them have certain things to grind for. If you want to find me on Twitter or Twitch, it is Ebontis over on both of those platforms. Right here on YouTube, if you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and the alert bell. That's a nice way to help me out. On this video, if you will click the link in the description, and if you watch that ad, that is probably the best way to help support this video for the channel right now. And if you do are a YouTube member or a Patreon sub, thank you for the extra support. You guys are all fantastic. Good luck on the weapon grinds, and I will see you soon.